That's what I was like. I get that we're trying to make them feel for us, but also I'm a Final Destination fan. I'm not going to give a crap if any of us die. Nor should we. And don't worry, you won't.
What's up, everybody? Ryan from JoBlo.com here, coming to you from the Chinese Theater in Hollywood for the premiere of Final Destination Bloodlines, the 6th entry in this killer franchise. We're going to talk to the stars and filmmakers about some behind-the-scenes stories, their own brushes with death, and tales of the late, great Tony Todd.
Good luck.
In addition, we're going to see if my guests can survive my little bag of fate here. Inside are 40 prompts. Half of them are life, half of them are death. Let's see how death is feeling on the red carpet. So for starters, without giving too much away, what can you tell us about your character?
So I play Julia Campbell. She is one of the Campbell family, so she's in the bloodline, so she's in Death's path. And yeah, I have my lovely brothers, Richard and Owen, and Stephanie's my cousin. I think Stephanie comes in talking crazy, talking about death, and Julia's just kind of like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? She's very loyal to her family, so.
Were you a fan of this series before you joined it?
I knew of the series, but I had not seen them when I joined. So I watched them all before we shot. But my boyfriend, I keep shouting out because I think when I auditioned, he changed my name in his phone to Anna Final Destination because he was just so excited that I was like going to be a part of the franchise. And his whole family is huge fans, so I'm just here to make them proud.
I mean, love that level of support. And having gone back now and rewatched them all, do you have a favorite death from the series previous to this?
Yeah, I think I got to stick with the chain link fence. The guy that gets like just blasted through the chain link fence in 4, that one is just so gruesome.
And speaking of gruesome, what was your process for unwinding after a particularly gory day on set, which I'm sure you've all experienced during this?
It's more just like exhaustion. It's like I've been unwound by this scene. So yeah, I think just like, I probably just passed out. I was so tired. It was a long day.
Did you get to share a moment with Tony Todd at all during the filming of this?
I was not in the scene with him, but I went in on my day off because I wanted to just be a part of it and witness it. So I was just at Video Village with the directors and everything, just like watching the takes and everything. And I did get to meet him. He actually had left for his trailer, and I was like, oh, I missed him. And I normally would never bother someone at their trailer, but I was like, I was going to swing by.
It's an icon, you got it.
Yeah, see if the store's open or whatever. And he couldn't be more gracious, more like just kept me there asking me questions and just made me feel so, welcome. He was amazing.
Oh, very, very nice. If death were to come for you, what everyday object do you feel would be your undoing?
This is so absurd, but my old car, I think when I was like a teenager, I had a car where I found a train spike and I was keeping it in my car because I thought it was cool. And I remember it was like sitting on my back, like trunk area. It was like a sedan. And if I had braked really hard, the train spike would have just gone.
Yeah.
That's the most Final Destination-y thing I could think of in my like everyday.
That is a recipe for disaster. And so to wrap up our interview, this is obviously a series about cheating death and tempting fate. Would you like to reach into my bag of fates and see how you fare tonight? All right, let's see.
You narrowly dodged the metro after falling on the tracks. You have survived.
Congratulations.
That, I feel like I would not survive that, but I appreciate this.
That says otherwise.
I feel like I would be scrambling to get off the tracks for a while.
No, I believe in you.
No, I would panic. I would listen. Just between you and me, I would panic.
Got it. Have you yourself had a near-death experience?
I have never had a near-death experience, but I did have that log truck experience.
All right, look. While I've got you here, I've got a bone to pick. I'm from Maine. There are log trucks everywhere, and I saw this movie young. I spent most of my life in Maine just staring at log trucks differently because of you guys.
Well, I came up with the idea. I was driving home behind. The original opening for part 2 was going to be a hotel fire, and
Craig Perry, our wonderful producer, was like, you got to think of something better. And I was driving home behind a log truck, and I pulled off the highway, and then I called Craig, and I'm like, what about a log truck on a freeway? And he's like, that's the opening. So blame Kentucky, but I also like to think maybe we've saved some lives in people driving behind them.
Pardon my French, but y'all have fucked up a generation.
Oh, yeah, we have, and this new bunch of wonderful filmmakers is fucking up a whole new generation with his new film. So couldn't be more happy with how it turned out. How we're honoring Tony Todd. He was such a dear friend and such an important part of this franchise. So I really feel like we got a chance to honor him with this one. This isn't spoiling anything, but he ad-libbed. The directors had him ad-lib his last scene, the end of his last scene. So the words he says are from the heart to the fans. So yeah, you're gonna cry.
What a beautiful send-off.
Yeah, I mean, and he was such a wonderful person, and just it wouldn't have been the same way without him. We were just so blessed to have him as part of the franchise from the beginning. So yeah.
He's dear to my heart, one of my favorite actors. This is such a beautiful tribute to him. Now, as someone who has spent a lot of time creatively in the world of this film, do you find it makes you more paranoid or cautious about the world?
Sadly, no. I've never been one who's known for my overthinking about the world, so yeah, I just try to think of fun new ways to kill people anytime I write something. Yep. So for me, it's more like, what haven't I seen in another movie?
What do you feel makes the perfect Final Destination death?
I think it's a mixture of a familiar location, something that everybody can kind of relate to, and then milking the hell out of it with so many things that could go wrong. And then it's the thing that you least expect to happen. Like when you see the first, I'm not going to spoil anything again, but when you see this film, people think we spoiled this guy's death, but it is not spoiled at all.
Nice.
Nothing is spoiled. The marketing for this has been wonderful.
Even the marketing alone made me go, ah.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna look. A taco truck runs a light, but you swerved last minute. You have survived.
Congratulations.
I knew it. Me and Death, we have a special relationship.
I would expect nothing less. I'm so excited to be here. Hey, I love this franchise dearly.
So do I.
Nice. Oh, well, that leads to my first question. Sure. Because I did want to ask if you were a fan before you came into this.
I saw the second movie when I was 11 years old when it came out. Me and some friends watched it at a sleepover, and their parents didn't know what kind of movie they rented for us. So we saw the second one and we're freaked out. And then I went to see the first one, and I've seen all the movies multiple times ever since. And then the franchise has turned into what it is for me now, which is like, it's just gleeful laughter when people die.
Oh, yeah.
It makes light of death, and I think in this world we need more of that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's something very familiar about the way you started that, because I too saw this at a sleepover when I wasn't supposed to, and it was the second one, so familiar tales.
See, there you go.
No wonder we're so f***ed up.
You're not wrong about that.
Speaking of f***ed up, without giving too much away, what was your reaction when you read the script and saw what your character goes through?
Yes, what my character goes through.
To put it subtly.
I laughed my ass off. You don't come into Final Destination to make it out. I'll say that. As an actor, the worst thing that could happen to me in this is that I live through to see another day.
I get that.
Who knows? Maybe I do. Maybe I'm very upset about what happens to me. But, it's Final Destination. You don't need any spoilers to realize, take a wild guess.
Yeah, I get it. I would be bummed if I was in one of these and I made it through.
Yeah, I would be like, what do you want to put me in the 7th? Like...
Do you have a favorite death from the previous films?
Yes, it is Timmy from Final Destination 2 getting squished by the pane of glass while chasing away the pigeons.
Screwed me up on construction zones forever.
That absolutely should.
So for fans of this series, what is something that they would not expect going into this movie that differentiates it from the other 5?
A heart.
Like literally or figuratively?
I'm not going to say that you're not going to see a literal heart.
Yeah.
Well, I'm also not going to say that you are. I think the familial aspect of it, of being a family that is being the one put through this sort of motion of death, is heartwarming in its own sense, but don't worry, not nearly enough heartwarming that you would give a crap if any of us died. That's what I was like. I get that we're trying to make them feel for us, but also I'm a Final Destination fan. I'm not going to give a crap if any of us die. Nor should we. And don't worry, you won't.
Fantastic. All right, looking forward to the beautiful splatters.
Thank you.
Have you yourself ever had a near-death experience?
Many. Penicillin. Don't give me that.
Noted.
I feel like I'm giving people the playbook to kill me. Penicillin. Put that in stuff. I'm slightly allergic to chocolate. Don't do that.
Okay, got it.
There was one time where my mom saved my life because these people were street racing and they came around a corner out of the blue and were head-on collision with me and my mom in a car when I was 10. She superwomaned it and rolled it back, and we were gone. You think you're gonna try to get me with my mom around? You got no hope. You're signing your own death warrant.
Perfect. Coming off the heels of Mother's Day weekend, that's perfect.
There you go.
And lastly, with this being a movie about fate and attempting to cheat death, I was wondering if you would like to reach into my bag of fates here and see how you fare.
Yeah. Jar of sharp pencils falls and punctures your throat. Rest in peace.
I'm terribly sorry.
God, that's lame, dude.
Sorry to hear it. Pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much.
I'm so sad.
The worst. I'm so excited to be here. I love this series.
Thank you, me too.
So you were a fan before you came in, or
Seen any of them? None of them. They were brand new to me.
did you retroactively go back, or?
When I got the job, I stopped and watched them all. I mean, I did a marathon with a girlfriend over bowls of popcorn and watched everything.
Very nice.
I had to know the world I was stepping into.
Fair enough. When you first got the script for this project, what was your reaction when you learned about your character and what may or may not occur with them, so to speak?
I'm going to say the first script I got, I was disappointed by Darlene's death, if you're asking. And then that shifted as we worked. So she gets retribution and is honored in a way that I am thrilled about at the end.
Very nice.
But I was really surprised by how smart and how that this story and script has a lot of depth. The family story changes it. I think it gives it a giant heart, and I think it makes the stakes even higher. It's not as easy to just root for death in this one.
I love that. I love when a horror movie not only connects you to the horror of it all, but actually makes you care about the characters.
Yeah, and it's surprising that way. I think the other movies have everything the fans love, which is they get to cheer for death, they get to laugh at death, they get to and you know what's coming.
Yep.
This one, I think the deaths are a little bittersweet.
And kind of expanding on that, what can you tell us about your character as a person?
Darlene, because of the trauma she grew up with and her mother seeing death everywhere, I think chose to leave her children because she didn't want to do to her children what was done to her. She was really trying to change the family baggage, change the trauma, only to realize that she has very little, if no control over it.
Coming out of a particularly tough scene or gruesome day on set, did you have any sort of process for unwinding?
No, on this one, you kind of walked away and you got to let it all go. And all of the deaths in those pieces, they happen so specifically and are so broken up into little bits and pieces that it was easy. And this is a great cast, so we kept each other laughing and supported all the time.
And lastly, with this being a movie about cheating death and tempting fate, I was wondering if you would like to reach into my bag of fates here and see how you fare.
Yes. You choke on a jelly bean, but thankfully your friend knows the Heimlich. You have survived.
Hey, congratulations. A positive note to wrap on. Thank you for talking with me.
Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you.
You're right.
So it's now been 14 years since we've last had a visit with death. What was it about this particular story that made you guys say it's time to come back?
Well, we always wanted to come back, but I think you're right. Finding the right way into the story after 5 previous movies is a challenge, and John Watts came up with a really interesting and intriguing way to both honor the franchise, but turn it on its ear just enough that we could not only have more characterization and more depth of emotion, but actually expand the aperture of what the franchise can do by starting in the late 60s and then going to present day. So suddenly our time frame opened up. And it was creatively inspired, and it also, I think, allowed us to do so many new things with how Death can interact with the timeline of the franchise.
Absolutely. And what are some things that fans may not expect going into this that differentiates it from the previous 5?
I think one of the things the fans will notice in this version is there's a really good balance of tone. Yes, there's humor, but it's humor coming from the characters. We're not making fun of this movie. We're not making fun of the circumstance. The characters are organically funny, and I think that makes that much more entertaining. And also, we really amped up the gore quotient. I'm not gonna lie, we delivered the goods in that front because we knew it was important, but at the same time, we took great pains to really orchestrate the sequences because they're very hard to sort of figure out how everything A to B to C's. And that, with the punctuation of the delicious splatterific moment, really makes it for a really satisfying, fun time at the movies.
Fantastic. And kind of piggybacking off this is a franchise that is obviously known for some incredible and iconic death scenes. For you as a producer, what makes you look at a scene and go, that is a Final Destination death? Approved.
Well, I will tell you, when you think about the tattoo parlor, huge swaths of this upcoming generation has tattoos. They have piercings. It is a place where things are being shoved into your body, both needles and otherwise, and then to have a character inside that location in classic Final Destination fashion, where we as the audience know that Death is in there manipulating items, but he is unaware, and having it unfold from there. And I think Richard Harmon gives the performance of a lifetime. In fact, he may be the Buster Keaton of horror. Let's be honest. So I love that sequence. I think it is a distillation of everything that makes this franchise super entertaining.
And if Death was coming for you, what everyday object do you think would be your undoing?
I have a favorite coffee mug, and I think it would be poetic justice if I were to die by virtue of somehow my favorite coffee mug being involved.
Of course, Death does have a sense of irony in these films.
Who's a petty bitch? Death is a petty bitch. I'm telling you. And this is how I'm going to die tonight?
Or live. It's half-half.
Okay, my friends at JoBlo. So I'm going to die by the red carpet lights overheating and catching my outfit on fire. Now, since I would say the outfit's on fire anyway, I don't think it's going to be too big a reach.
Nice. Nailed it, man. So, for starters, I was wondering, without spoiling too much, what you could tell us about your character in this movie.
Well, Howard Campbell, Uncle Howard, he's kind of the emotional backbone of the film. He's really trying to keep the family together and ensure that the kids grow up in a well-balanced, household, because he didn't really have that growing up, and he and his sister Darlene. So it's all about the family, and it's super important, and just blossoming the family and making sure everybody has the best experience possible, all the time, enjoying themselves and being loved.
Sounds like a good dude. I hope he's okay.
Surely he won't be.
Yeah. Not a whole lot of folks make it through these things, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, were you a fan of the franchise before you came into it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Final Destination's huge, and I enjoy it. It scares me. I don't like watching people get lushed too much. But when we do watch it, we have a lot of fun. Like my wife Shannon and I were watching. Where is she? My wife.
Hi, I'm Ryan. Hi.
My wife Shannon and I were watching the film in the advanced screening in Vancouver, and it's always fun watching it because it's the thrill, the rush, like that, woo, ah! And she was watching, so she actually knocked these glasses frames off her face, covering her eyes. So yeah.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
And do you, this is for both of you, do you have a favorite death scene from all the films?
Oh, it's got to be Richard's.
Richard Harmon's in this one. Don't want to give too much away, but Richard dies a nice grisly death.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And speaking of grisliness, at the end of a particularly gory day, did you have a process for kind of unwinding and cleansing your mind?
My wife reminds me that I need to calm down and relax, go pet our puppy, and take a chill pill. So that's kind of, we sit down, we watch movies together. We just bought a lazy boy because we're people of a certain age. And we stretch out, and our little dachshund, he lies between our legs and watches TV with us.
Perfect.
There you go.
Have you ever had a near-death experience?
We were saying that earlier, shared every good story, but literally last summer, we almost got killed in a car accident.
Oh, gosh.
And this is absolutely the truth. I've had a few little sort of premonitions in my life, and they've all come true. And it's to a varying degree. So we were filling up with gas to go on about a 1,000-mile journey, and I had an image of us upside down in our car and our dog hanging from his little harness. And I didn't see anything to Shannon, but about 8 hours later, long story short, a gentleman turned illegally on the highway. 2 or 3 big trucks smashed into his RV. One of them bounced off, hit another Bronco. They spun around, hit a family van, And then I saw him coming. But like Shannon said, it was all in what?
Slow motion.
Yeah, it just happened like in slow motion. And I just went like, whoop, whoop with the wheel. And they just kissed our back quarter panel and with 3 little bumps, and that was it. But and then there was a 25-foot drop on that side. If we'd have gone 1 more foot over, we would have rolled and gone down the embankment.
Well, I'm glad you're here to tell the story.
So are we. Mouse drop. Gonna lose my fingers. The mic you're holding has an exposed wire. You drop it fast enough and survive.
Hey!
Nice.
Congratulations, you made it through. What was your strategy for building up these extremely tense moments in the cut?
So what was nice is, first of all, because of Rube Goldberg, a lot of it is laid out in the script initially on how things are supposed to happen and take place. Then you get the footage, and that informs it a little bit differently, because then you see how the inserts work, and it's you're sort of building it by instinct, I would say, initially. And then I kind of sit back and I watch it, and I kind of see if I'm feeling the tension personally. And that's where I start with things, is how I'm initially reacting. And if I get a strong reaction initially, then I think I'm on the right track. And then, honestly, though, it's really like a process of like testing it and then tweaking it, testing it and tweaking it. So we did so many test screenings specifically to hone those specific things, which was crucial. So I think it's like so key to and we tested very early on too. And I love watching the reactions of crowds, or just even a small intimate group of like 10 people. I'll watch their reactions, see if they're reacting at the right times, and if they're not, I'm like, okay, we need to go back in there, we need to adjust that. But yeah, I would say instinct and then testing and seeing how people are like reacting to it in the field.
And anytime one of these is cut together, you find surprising moments or things that may have not come across on set that you build in the edit. Were there any surprises for you as an editor that you expanded on in your process of putting this together?
Yeah, well, I guess I was surprised by all the nuances in the barbecue scene, the family barbecue. There were so many things happening, and this is one of those situations where it wasn't necessarily in the script, but there were moments where I'm like, ooh, we should take this, this moment where they're playing with the Jenga game, insert that. That helps build tension because it draws the audience's attention somewhere else, and they're wondering what's the significance of this.
Right.
And then, another person is somewhere else, just sort of talking or drinking, and you just sort of find moments that you can play up almost in a sort of a deceiving way to like mislead the audience before you actually surprise them with the actual thing that's going to get the person in the end. Yeah, so there was lots of that. The guys are great with shooting little bits and allowing the actors to kind of improvise too in places. So when I get the footage, I'm constantly surprised with what I'm getting, because it's stuff that it's just gold half the time. It's wonderful things that maybe flesh out the characters a bit more, give them more personality that wouldn't necessarily on the page initially. And yeah, the little pieces that you can kind of steal to build things that weren't necessarily there.
And was there anything that you had to fight for as an editor that made the final cut that you can tell us?
Oh, there were lots of things that made the final cut. There was one shot in particular in the initial set piece of people falling through the floor at the sky view. There was one cutaway that we have at ground level where people are splattering. And it was really, that we had different reactions from people. It was usually very positive because people were just shocked, of course. And we were surprised by how much bloodlust people had these days. They just screamed for more, 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 more. So in the end, we ended up getting to keep it because the audiences wanted it. We put it into a test screening and they reacted so strongly to it. But initially, there was some debate as to whether it was appropriate or if it was too much. But I think, audiences are evolving with every iteration of these movies that come out. And so they really surprised us this time in wanting more. Like, there wasn't too much that we could do, essentially. So that was great. I mean, I am a horror fan, and this is sort of my bread and butter, and I love watching horror movies, and I'm so one of those people that's just like, give me more, give me more. So to see the general audiences be that way too was awesome.
If death were to come for you, what everyday object do you think would be your undoing?
Maybe the tweezers. So I feel like I'm constantly like tweezing little hairs and being really like obsessive about my face. Maybe the teaser. I don't know how they would get me, but I feel like there would be a way.
There's always a way.
Yeah, it's surprising how death can find you. Yeah, it's either that or slipping in the top. It'd be something like super lame like that.
Fair enough. For you as an editor, Is there something that you think audiences should keep a weather eye for in this film? A little detail or an Easter egg or something that made it in that you're like, I hope they notice this?
Yeah, of course. So I should say what it is? Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's a few instances where we've sort of called back to the earlier movies, and one of them is a license plate, as in the very first scenes, as the couple pulls up to the sky view, the license plate is a shout out. So there's another scene where the family's all talking, and they're trying to figure out which hospital they need to go to find this mortician, and the mom is trying to throw out names, and she goes Hope River, Deep River, and she says clear, and then she gets cut off. So that's the one I hope people will notice, because we very specifically planted that one.
I love it. I love a good Easter egg.
Yeah, right?
And so to wrap this up, this movie is obviously about cheating death and tempting fates. Would you like to reach into my bag of fates here and see how you fare?
I absolutely do. You ate too much carnival food and can't ride the ill-fated Devil's Flight roller coaster. You have survived!
Congratulations!
Survivor, baby.
Hell yeah, editors are. So that's going to do it for me from the premiere of Final Destination Bloodlines. So looking back at my interviews, I couldn't help but notice that the Bag of Fate was actually particularly kind to my guests. I think most of them lived. So I thought I would draw one last one for you, the audience. Let's see what death has in store. It says, ironically, a Final Destination Bloodlines billboard has fallen and crushed you. What a bummer. Rest in peace. From the Chinese Theater in Hollywood, I have been Ryan Kihlstedt from JoBlo.com. I'll see you soon.
Only by embracing death will it pass you by.
Maybe death's not actually coming for our family. Because that would be crazy.
Good luck.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo remains an independent company, and we appreciate all of your support.